now time for the GeoGeeks, a regular segment where we bring in a subject matter expert to tell us what's noteworthy in our core ArcGIS products. But today, we're bringing them all together, all four of our peeps, to tell us about 3 things you should know about our latest releases. And joining us around the virtual fireplace is our holly jolly soul himself, Mr. Bonhomme, Justin Brassard. Bonjour, mon ami.
Holly jolly, love to hear it. Christmas time's coming up. I'm happy to be on the pod to wrap up the year. Nonetheless, ArcGIS Enterprise, a lot of changes have happened, so ready to dive into that.
That's right. Yeah, we're going to cover 3 of the things that you want to point out with the newest release of ArcGIS Enterprise 11.4, which was released in November. And the first thing you wanted to mention is something that was already incorporated on the ArcGIS Online world, but is now part of the Enterprise world, and that is ArcGIS user type. So tell us a little bit more about what's going on in that end in Enterprise.
Yeah, of course. So as we know, Enterprise is always a little bit behind ArcGIS Online, which is completely okay. It takes a bit of time to integrate that technology into ArcGIS Enterprise, right? But the biggest thing, user types, right? So we do know with the June update that occurred this year, there were major changes that occurred with the user types, specifically in ArcGIS Online. Well, now we can expect those to occur in the newest update for ArcGIS Enterprise. So what does this mean? Let's just kind of go through a quick recap of kind of what changed here. So previously we had the viewer, the editor, mobile worker, creator, and then we had our GIS professional licenses at the level of basic, standard, and advanced. So all these, depending where you were, you might need some add-on extensions kind of added on to some user types. Essentially now this is meant to kind of simplify things for us, right? A couple user type names have changed, which is great, right? And the model's a lot easier to understand now. So moving over to the new model now, the editor user type, which is our second one with the least privileges, we could say, has changed to contributor. Has functionality really changed in here? Not really. You're going to have majority of the same functionality as the editor did. So that's not really a big deal. Don't worry about that. But as we move up the chain, as we get to the creators, when our major changes start to occur here. So we've got the creator, professional, and professional plus, which are now the new 3 user types essentially. Why is the creator new, you may ask? Well, previously in the GIS professional basic, standard, and advanced, each one of those basically held like a separate, we can call it a separate type of GIS Pro license, we could say, right? So in the basic, we had an ArcGIS Pro license, a basic license, and then we had a standard license and the advanced license. Well, now that ArcGIS Pro Basic license is included in our creator user type, which is great, right? So you can now create basically an ArcGIS Online and also use that basic license of ArcGIS Pro without needing that add-on license for ArcGIS Pro, simply in that creator user type. And then as we go up to professional plus now, the professional is going to have our ArcGIS standard license, and then the ArcGIS Pro Advanced license is going to be in our professional plus. Another thing worth noting actually for the Professional Plus, there is some add-on extensions from ArcGIS Pro that are included in here. So that's also great. You don't have to come in now and assign or use all those add-on extensions in the highest level of user type, right? Majority of the more major ones like Spatial Analysts, et cetera, will be included in there already. So you don't have to worry about those anymore. But generally speaking, it's integrated in ArcGIS Enterprise now. Kind of integrated in the same way as ArcGIS Online, but it's definitely a great change that's kind of occurred, and it's helping us kind of simplify things a little bit.
Absolutely. I know that it's been a long time coming for Enterprise. It's been out for a while in ArcGIS Online, so there's lots of resources if people are interested in reading more, but I think you did a great job summarizing it. So thanks for reminding us all about user types. It's been a big topic this year.
Of course.
Another area that I know you're saying, Enterprise is usually a little bit behind online, but in this case, I actually think it's a little ahead of ArcGIS Online. You're going to talk to us a little bit about the web editor, right?
Yeah, of course. So the ArcGIS web editor, that recently also got put into ArcGIS Online, right? And what does that tool do? Essentially, it basically makes those data editing workflows a lot easier, right? It streamlines your data maintenance workflows, right? And this is something that's absolutely amazing, right? You can come in and it gives you an interface. It's basically another application, gives you an interface to go in and edit your data, whether it's creating new features, updating features, deleting features, changing vertices, for example. You can do stuff like split, merge, and move or reshape features, etc. Right? But a feature that ArcGIS Enterprise does have in this application that is not in ArcGIS Online that is great is going to be that you're able to manage versions for versioned data sets, right? That's just a feature that got added in. It's going to add a lot of functionality to that application, especially when you're using those things like enterprise geodatabases, right? It's going to add functionality to that actual application, and it's a great addition. So it's a little bit ahead in that sense as of right now. Will it come to ArcGIS Online down the line? Who knows, right? But it's important that we stay in touch to kind of find out what's going to happen with that in the future.
Amazing, yes. And I know we spent some time talking about the web editor in our last podcast for ArcGIS Online. So if you're curious about the basics, you can definitely tune into the feed there. But I'm glad you expanded on some of the extra features that are available now in Enterprise. So we appreciate you sharing that. All right, just third thing. I honestly have no idea what it is. You have new item classification functionality. So talk to me about what that is.
Yeah, so item classification. So this is a great feature, I think. The way I think of this really, I'm sure as we all know with the newer versions of the Microsoft products, so stuff like PowerPoint, Excel, Word, you maybe get some form of like notification now, or like when you try and save a document, for example, you might get like this little box that pops up, and it basically tells you to select the privacy of the item, essentially, right? Whether it's internal, public, confidential, etc., right? Well, basically, the way I'm thinking of it, this is almost a same method to be implemented on your data in the ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise platform, right? So when you have data now, if there's something, I know there's companies out there, whether you're a municipality, you're in the defense sector, banking, whatever it may be, right? Anytime that you're using ArcGIS Enterprise now and you have that deployment, you can go ahead and set the classification on those items. So what does that mean? We can set an item as confidential when we want. And here's the tidbit though. No, it's not going to be instantly hidden from the public, okay? Or from your organization. You do still have to set these settings as the administrator kind of in the back end to those specific labels. But essentially that functionality is going to allow us to set those labels so that privileges could be set on them essentially. So that if there is confidential stuff, for example, or maybe you want somebody to see specific items and only specific items within your organization, you can set that up so that that is a thing just based off that label code. So another great feature, something that's going to be very useful. At first, I wasn't necessarily sure about it on my end in software like PowerPoint and Excel, for example, right? But I could definitely see the use behind it, especially when you've got that really confidential data that you don't want getting spread around. So another great feature that got added in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really good to see that this release had a lot of stuff for the administrator, the
Definitely.
simplified identity process and making sure that you have your data secure and organized. It's a big step forward for ArcGIS Enterprise. So thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yeah, no problem. Glad I could share some of the new information and keep everybody up to date on what's going on.
Thank you. And I'm sure we'll have you back again for more coming next year.
Can't wait.
That's Justin Brassard. He's a technical solutions specialist with the marketing team, and he's joining us from his gingerbread house in Bolton, Ontario.